All right, you want to go see Pop Evil and Bad Wolves. They are co-headlining the Animal Instinct Tour through tomorrow night at midnight. While they've got them, you can get tickets for $10.07 with the promo code WMMS. If you want to do that at Ticketmaster.com, you can win this pair. The show is Thursday, November 12th at Temple Live at the Cleveland Masonic. Bad Wolves, Pop Evil. Caller 10, this pair for you. Good luck. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
He's been called a waste of space before, but now it's official. Alan Cox.
To occupy the city.
On 100.7 WMMS.
I'm chubbing up a little. I won't lie to you.
From your Halloween music?
Oh, yeah. King Diamond? Oh, God. Come on, man. I know for a lot of people it's nails on a chalkboard, but I couldn't love it more. King Diamond at the Agora in 6 days. I don't think I've seen King Diamond at the Agora since pre-COVID. 2019, maybe. Wednesday night at the Agora with, who else? Overkill. And then that band from Ventura, California that guy called about. What are they called? I forget. Night Demon, that's what they call them. Yeah, King Diamond on Wednesday night. Alan, don't forget it's also Diwali. It is Diwali. It's a festival of lights. That starts today too, I think, right? Doesn't that start today? Are you guys going to any Diwali parties?
No.
Nope. Oh, you're not? No. I dated a steady stream of Hindu girls in college, so I went to a lot of Diwali parties. And it was a good time because I could be loose because I was a white boy, so I was never considered like a legitimate candidate for boyfriend or husband to the parents. I'd go meet the parents, and it was all nice and fine, but there was no pressure on me because those, as far as the parents were concerned, those situations were all going to be arranged. Little did they know, of course, what their daughters were doing behind closed doors. But Halloween is a big deal. You know, there are places around the world that celebrate Halloween. There's nowhere that it's as big as the U.S. and Canada. That's the lion's share of people doing Halloween stuff as here at North. But like tens of millions of people around the world celebrate Diwali. And so, listen, light the candles and, maybe that's in your home. Study your Sanskrit. That's what I'll be doing tonight, is studying my Sanskrit. Hey, Cavs win big last night against LeBron and the Lakers, 134-110. So they're 5-0 now. They're off tonight. They're going to stay at home, and tomorrow night they will take on the Orlando Magic. Magic have anyone of note this season?
Yeah. What do you mean, like the players?
Yeah.
Do they have about Paulo?
Oh, that's right, Paolo Banchero.
Banchero.
Yeah, right.
He's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's next up. He's going to be one of the top 3 players in the league in the next few years.
Okay. Alan, jaywalking is a state law. Postal workers are federal employees. Anthony won't have to worry about anything. Well, that they wouldn't.
They don't have to abide by state laws?
Well, no, I think it means that that you wouldn't get in trouble for, I don't know. That's just a distinction that this person is making. Alan, I just tuned into the live stream, and Mary looks awesome.
Thank you.
I never thought a skeleton would look cute, but Mary fits the bill. How about that?
Did you see what I posted on my Instagram? I posted up my story, the picture of me like this with my headphones and my microphone. I said, radio is dead. Get it?
Mary, you're never going to believe this, and I hate to break it to you, but when we go to break, I don't check your Instagram.
You don't
Why
immediately
not?
run to Mary's.
Why wouldn't you do that?
I get it. Radio is dead. You know why that's funny? Because it's
works
true
on 2
and
ways.
true. That's right. These terrestrial podcasts that we do are a lot of fun. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, with apologies to Caitlin, I'm going to tell you some of the people who listen in other states. Our bureau chiefs. Jake is in Orange County, California. Another Jake is in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, wherever the hell that is. Alana listens in Dover, New Hampshire. Annie is in Ogden, Utah. And Eric listens to the show in Longmont, Colorado. I have friends that live in Longmont. It's a very, very nice. We just saw them. They were one of our group. We had a big group of Chicago friends. We were kind of reconvening for that wedding in New Jersey. And our friends from Longmont came out. It's a lovely community. I did blow past the fact that the LA Dodgers won the World Series last night. They did it. It was going to happen. I mean, they just had to win last night. The Yankees were way ahead, by the way. I clicked in like in the fifth inning, and it was the Yankees were killing it.
You must have got there at the beginning of the fifth inning.
I did.
Because moments later.
It was 5-0 in the fifth.
It was 5-0 in the fifth, and then by the middle of the fifth, it was 5-5.
Yep.
They scored 5 runs in the fifth, and then ended up winning, 7-6?
Yeah, because I was surprised because I turned it off. I had to have turned it off right before that. And then I was like, I Googled it this morning. I was like, they probably won unless they had some big, Cavs 2016 energy. But the Dodgers win 7-6 coming from behind.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
I'd be lying to you if I told you that I wouldn't rather see the World Series go to a city that cares. I know that they have Dodger fans. Dodger fans are diehard fans. I do get it. But it seems sports-wise, for all of the criticism that a lot of us have about the outsized priority that people give sports, that's the reality, and it seems more fun if a smaller market wins the World Series.
It means more.
It means more to the people. I mean, we were calling the Mets underdogs yesterday, and somebody texted me and said, "You're insane. They have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball." I'm like, yeah, but that's not what I mean. Like in New York, the Yankees are like New York's team. The Mets are there. It's like I follow Chicago White Sox, but Chicago is a Cubs town. Even though the White Sox won the World Series way before the Cubs did.
And the Mets haven't won the World Series since, 86?
I mean, they make it to the playoffs every couple of years, but they just haven't been able to get it over the line. So, yeah, there are diehard Mets fans, but it's a Yankees town. And what I do love, though, I wanted the Dodgers to win, obviously, because the Yankees beat the Guardians. But what I do love were all of the Yankees fans that were talking shrimp when they beat the Guardians. Mm-hmm. And they were like, have fun watching the World Series from the couch.
We did.
We did, and guess what? You guys didn't even win a game until the other night.
There's a guy here in studio. He works on one of the other stations, and he's a Yankees fan. So 2 weeks ago, or whenever we were playing each other, I was decked out in Guardians gear. He was decked out in Yankees gear, and we were going back and forth. And then yesterday, he looks at me and goes, "What? You're not going to give me a congratulations? You're not going to root for me?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "You can't even just keep it in the league? You really want LA to win?" I was like, "Of course I want
keep
LA
it in the
win.
league.
Of course I want LA. No, I don't want the Yankees to win anything ever. Are you out of your mind?" He's like, "All right, that's fair. That's fair."
Well, listen, there are some people. I have friends who go, "Hey, I'm a Cubs fan, but if the White Sox are doing well, I root for them because it's still a Chicago team." And I go, "I don't. I rooted for the Indians against the Cubs in the World Series because the Cubs are not my team."
Right.
And so I'm like, it's like if you're a Mets fan, you're not hoping the Yankees win because it's a New York team. You want the Yankees to lose because you're a Mets fan. And not everybody feels that way. Some people go, "Hey, it's still a New York team." Okay. I mean, that's cool too. But you're either a fan of your team or you're not. That to me, that ticket is non-transferable.
There were, I was at the stand last night hosting a comedy show, and they had the game on in the green room.
Oh, good for you.
Now,
And
did you
then-
stay upright this time?
I was upright, yes. I had no issues. And I would walk past and I'd hear screams and this and that. And then I saw there was like a mass exodus of all like 6 or 7 of the guys that were watching the game in the green room. They left in that 6th inning because they were like, "Dodgers just scored 5 points, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "So why are you leaving?" They're like, "We can't watch this. I don't want to see my team lose."
Yeah.
Like, damn, all right. So that's the only reason I knew what was going on, is that a bunch of pissed off Yankees comics all left the green room at the same time.
I mean, at this wedding in Jersey over the weekend when the band was playing at the reception, I'm looking around the dance floor And I'm like, it's all of our friends from around the country because most of the people who were locals, because our friend has lived in, he's lived in New York for a long time. His now wife is from Jersey. So it was a lot of like their family and friends and whatever. All the people who were locals were in the back room. It was this huge like reception complex. And the back room obviously had these 3 giant televisions and couches with the game on. Those people are all back there watching the game. And I'm like, wow, these guys are real. They're at a wedding and they're drinking and, you're having fun and blah, blah, blah. They were back there. A lot of people back there just watching the game instead of dancing and doing other stuff.
My friend got married a couple years ago. When was the last time the Guardians were in the playoffs?
2022.
So it wasn't that. What about before that? Was it 2016?
2016, I think, right? When
Well,
they were the
that
Indians?
was when the
World Series.
went to the World Series. But I think
So
they
she
made
must
it
have
once
gotten-
after that. Once or
She
twice
must have
after that.
gotten married during the 2016 because everyone was really trying to hide the fact that they were watching the game during the speeches. So, like, everybody had, like, their phones in their laps
Yeah.
like, while they were giving speeches. And I remember it couldn't have been that far into the series because it wasn't that important. It wasn't like it was game 7 and that's when it was. But everybody was, like, very upset and very, like, not into the wedding. And I felt bad for it because there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? You plan your wedding 2 years out.
It does suck,
and then
though.
it just kind of falls on a day that's more important to all of your
Yeah.
like the biggest day of your life is the 3rd biggest thing happening to everyone.
That's kind of
at the
what this
wedding.
was.
It's a bummer.
Yep. Yeah. So it is the 8th time that the Dodgers have won the World Series. They will have that parade in L.A. tomorrow for them. Alan, what are the chances that you're going to play Werewolf Bar Mitzvah? Well, we mentioned this before. I would say 100% chance that I'll play Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.
Look at this, and my go record from that novelty party song.
Oh man, Trey, look up at the sky. It's a full moon on the Sabbath.
This is scary.
Break it down.
I was working late on my Haftorah when I heard a knock on my bedroom door. I opened it up, and to my surprise, there was a werewolf standing there with glowing gold eyes. He says, tomorrow, my son, you will be a man. But tonight's the time to join the Wolfen clan. Tomorrow you will stand at the beamer and pray. But tonight, let's gaze at the moon and bathe. Werewolf for mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. Werewolf for mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves.
What a good time.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's one of my favorite rewatch shows too.
30 Rock.
30 Rock. So
I
good.
just started rewatching 30 Rock and Arrested Development because we blew through Detroiters again. And yeah, 30 Rock is one of those shows that makes like a quantum leap after the first couple of seasons.
Yeah.
They really settle in. That first one was pretty rocky. And then they
But
like
even
Parks
within
and
that
Rec,
first
they
one, there's a lot of really
yeah.
funny stuff. But yeah, once they figure out all the characters and the dynamics, and then it's just joke. Like there's so many layered jokes, and Jenna is so fun. Like all the characters are just great.
That show is almost 20 years old,
I know.
too.
Arrested Development is such a good show.
Yeah.
Too. I'm Mr. Manager. No, man, just the manager.
I liked 30 Rock, but I don't think I ever need to watch it again.
Really?
Like, I watched it the first time. I watched it one time all the way through, and I laughed out loud, and it was fun, but it was one of those shows that I really couldn't watch more than 2 or 3 episodes in a row. I don't know why. It's like The Office, I could binge an entire season and not stop laughing. But for whatever reason, 30 Rock, it took me, like, after an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, I was like, that's enough for tonight.
30 Rock's pacing is different, too, because there's, like, tons of swish pans and flashbacks and, you know. So, yeah, it's not for everybody. But, so, and again,
Dennis is one of
I love shows like that are just packed.
Yeah.
They're so, and it's a fine line because there's shows that to me feel overwritten, like Letterkenny was a show that everybody's like, you'd love this show. And we watched it for a while, and I was like, I do like this show, but it's so overwritten and it felt so jokey, whereas 30 Rock felt like it was more.
there's
I don't
still
know,
some story driven
Yeah.
aspects of it.
The first time I watched Letterkenny, I was on an edible. So this is years ago. And I was watching it and I wasn't laughing. And Brian and I had just gotten together. And he was not really laughing and he was drinking beer too. So yeah, this is 2019. And so we're sitting there and I looked at him at one point and I was like, I cannot tell if this is the best show ever written or the worst show ever written.
Yeah.
Because it is a ton of jokes.
And
so
it's a very Canadian show, too.
The writing is good, but I felt like I was I can't, this is too much. It's too confusing. And then I was like, I'm also high, so it might be that too, but.
I do still say pitter patter, let's get at her, though. Every chance I get. If you listen to us on iHeartRadio, you can always leave messages there for us.
Hey, Alan, it's Eric in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Still catching up on the podcast. Just finished my morning commute on the bus to downtown Pittsburgh. And I heard you talk about the 5-year anniversary of the bus sinkhole. Well, I work right near there. I was working there at the time. That hole was there for a year plus, and indeed there is no monument marking its occasion. I think they should at least have a sculptural bike rack of a bus sticking out the sidewalk so we can all remember that day.
God, you could hear him getting off the bus there. Yeah, can you believe that? I mean, we were in beginning of September when we went to Pittsburgh to see Green Day at PNC Park, the Smashing Pumpkins. So we stayed downtown, and we weren't far from there. I walked over to 10th and Penn, where the site of the sinkhole was, because they just had the 5th anniversary of this, I mentioned earlier in the week. And I stood there for a minute, and I kind of closed my eyes, and I bowed my head. And he's right. They had no kind of memoriam. You know, you can't go 10 feet along the highway without seeing some makeshift cross and a couple of teddy bears where somebody bit it. And granted, no one died in the Great Pittsburgh Bus Sinkhole of 2019. But nevertheless, do we only need to memorialize things where people died? Okay, I guess that's what that word means. But you take my point. So I stood there and I dropped a couple of roses. You know when Bruce Wayne walks through the alley, Michael Keaton, he goes back to where his parents were killed and drops the couple of roses? I did that where the Pittsburgh bus sinkhole was. And again, granted, nobody died, but...
Alan, Rich down Jacksonville, Florida, listen live, and you guys were talking about this Botox, and Mary said that it should tighten it. Well, actually, Botox is a toxin that relaxes muscles, so theoretically, it wouldn't tighten a hole. Did you catch my drift? Anyways, hate the show. Gonna miss you, Mary. Bye!
Speaking of holes, yeah, okay, right. We were talking about hole tox, the anal Botox. So Botox, when girls get it in their forehead, that's to keep the muscles from tensing up?
I've never gotten it.
I
guess I have no
makes
idea.
sense. Yeah. So but I know they can't make expressions.
Yeah. Boy, I love the long buys. People go, bye. Rich in Jacksonville leaves messages a lot. This guy, I don't know if it's breath control or what, but he has left some long ones before. Man, I don't know how he does that. How does he do that?
It almost sounds like editing.
I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds incredible. How dare you besmirch?
I didn't besmirch. I just said
Rich from
almost.
Jacksonville's diaphragm, Mary. He's got his diaphragm in. Werewolf Bar Mitzvah featuring Werewolf Dolph Lundgren.
Yes, Werewolf Dolph Lundgren.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Werewolf Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, that's what I thought
that was your
was.
take on the Warren Zevon classic.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well done. That's a good one. Mick Fleetwood playing the drums on this track, by the way. Patrice had the best lines in Arrested Development despite only being in one episode. I think he was in more than one. He was one of the warehouse guys. Wasn't he?
No, he was in the
that was The
Office.
Office.
He
I'm
was in
sorry.
The Office more
I'm thinking of The
episodes.
Office. Yeah.
But he was the flamer in Arrested Development. Right. Always money in the banana stand.
Hasn't Mary said she's never watched Seinfeld? She needs to get on that. Stephen
Now, I've
Canton
never
says,
watched it start to finish.
It's
but
an
I've picked
acquired
up
taste.
Episodes here and
it's
there.
a very 90s show, too. And I don't know that Mary would enjoy that. She hates most 90s stuff.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do, because
I
you're
hate
a baby.
80s stuff.
Well, you hate 80s stuff, but early 90s comedy might not be for you.
You made that up. You came up with that all on your own.
Well, of course.
Never said
I make all this up. I make all of it up, Mary. This is a world of wonder and come on. I got to take a break, by the way. This is probably why I got divorced, because I put this song in our wedding video. So Little Old Lady Got Mutilated Late Last Night is in the wedding video from my first marriage. Probably a harbinger of things to come, or coincidence, I don't know. Hey, you want to go see Bill Squire's Christmas Kwanzaa? How does that fit into your holiday plans? Quite snugly, actually, because it's December 28th. So it fits nicely in that spot between Christmas and New Year's. He's going to do it at the Agora, December 28th. Mary Santora, Joe Briggs, who's going to be in here tomorrow.